Today's episode is sponsored by Globally Paid. Globally Paid is a service that integrates payment acceptance into any software to help businesses scale faster and without friction. Globally Paid handles credit card processing, fraud protection, payouts, dispute alerts, and chargeback management. And Globally Paid is all about great relationships, global payments, custom tech. Everything begins and flows with compliance. For more information, visit globallypaid.com. Hello, I'm Tony, and welcome to the Tony Shap Show. Well, welcome back, everybody. Today we have a different format, and I'm super excited. This is the first time for me to have two owners on. These guys are both co-founders of a wonderful company, and they're going to tell you who they are, where they've been, where they are today, where they're going to go. So I want to give you guys both a warm welcome. And from behalf of me and our audience, David and Jim, welcome to the Tony Shap Show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So just to give you some context, for those of you it's your first time listening, it's called Top 10 with Tony. I go in with a quick rapid fire 10 questions. And on this episode, that's unique and very different. And I'm super excited actually to, have this kind of format. Some of the questions I'll ask from both of you and other ones I'll just direct. So if you guys are ready, let's dive right into it.
Sounds good.
All right. The very first question, the famous question, is a one-word open. And I'll ask David first. So David, if you want to go ahead and let us know, what is that one word open that you're feeling right now that could describe, your exact state as a person, so we could be right there on the same page with you, David?
Excited.
Excited. Very good. Jim, how about you? What's your one word open?
I think curious for me.
Excellent. All right. Let's go back to Dave. Dave, tell us about the business, how you got started in it, and how Jim came into picture. If you could let us know all about that, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah. So we started xFusion, which is a customer service agency. And the funny thing is, the reason we started is that I suppose we are our own first customers. We each own our SaaS businesses, and we met in the SaaS space. Jim used to work for a private equity firm from which I bought a business, and it was through that I got to meet him when I made an acquisition. He was the one who was helping me onboard and just learn the operations and what it takes to run that business. We really kicked it off in terms of personality and aligned values. And the funny thing is, the reason I originally worked with him is we wanted to build just a great customer experience for the business that I ran. And the funny thing is, we were previously using one of our competitors who kind of just let us down in a lot of ways. And one of the things I think about in terms of like the value of agencies is the value of their management and the value of, I guess, the insights they're able to bring to the table. But we were paying an agency relatively premium rates for relatively subpar performance. And we just felt like, hey, if we're experiencing this, there must be other people who will have a similar experience. And we know that these companies are fairly big, so there definitely is a market opportunity.
Wonderful. And thanks for telling us that. So let's go over to Jim now. Jim, if you could tell us, tell the audience in business context, what was a recent win that you guys experienced together, and also what you learned from it, Jim?
Gosh, we've been experimenting with so many different things lately. We've had a number of wins and a number of losses too. It's kind of it's a new day every day. I think one of the things that we've recognized that's been a win for us, just really simple cold outbound emails. And specifically those that aren't even necessarily customized, just basically being in front of the right person at the right time. And we see that they have a need for what we offer, and customer support or customer success, and that's been a real win for us. So that's something that we're appreciative of, and it's a very low cost thing to do.
It's funny you mentioned that, because next week I have, I'm glad you mentioned with the cold outreach and an outreach program, because I'm having one of the founders the founder of SalesBlink on here. So he's all about that. So that's really great. So moving on to the next thing. So David, let's talk about failures. Sorry to ask you this question, but
yeah, David,
we all learn our failures, right? There's, what doesn't break us, makes us, so let's just go right into it. I don't know. There's no nice.
Sure. Sounds good.
Failures. So tell us a failure that you just recently experienced and what you learned from it, David.
I think failure is a lot of connotations, and one of those is the fact that it's like there's this negative connotation that you're supposed to avoid failures. And I think especially with the traditional American education system, I think people from a young age all the way into like early adulthood are taught that failure is a bad thing, or you're supposed to avoid failure, or you're supposed to protect yourself from it. The funny thing is, I don't know if I view it that way, and I can't actually say we've actually experienced any like actual failures. Like, I think everything is a learning opportunity, and I think there's some things you simply can't learn ahead of time. Jim's run other startups in the past, but this is my first time doing a startup full time, and I think there's just a lot of people-based interactions that you have that you just have to learn from, right? This is our first time leading a company that we hope to become larger in terms of like, I guess, people count. And that means there's just a lot of relations you have to manage, and there's just something along the way that you have to like learn. I think what most in terms of what people would consider traditional failure, I think hiring is one of those areas where if you just hire the wrong person, either lack of cultural fit, lack of competency, some combination of the two, I think you just have to adapt really quickly and make sure that you set things straight in terms of just setting the bar at a reasonable expectation that people can attain to, and at the same time that is well understood. And I think we hired the wrong person. I think that led to people potentially feeling not super great within the company, because if they see an underperformer, I think it makes them feel like, hey, I can slack too and get away with it. And I think it's just important that we handle things in a fair but at the same time firm way.
Excellent, David. That's a big one. I mean, I think that was a great takeaway for all of us listening right now. Perfect. And then Jim, moving on to your biggest business expense that you have today. What is that for you guys?
Well, I mean, every month it's our payroll, but I mean, we look at that. Yeah, I guess according to the books, it's an expense, but really we look at that as an investment. And we're so grateful to have such an incredible staff. And they're absolutely the backbone of our business. Like, the only way that we're able to talk to you right now is because we have such a hardworking staff, working really hard from ground level staff to leadership every day. They're out there serving the clients well and doing a really great job. So yeah, they're expensive on the P&L, but they're certainly a very worthy investment for us.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to know, since I'm in the payment space, does payment processing fit anywhere in the top 10 highest expenses for you guys?
No. So you're talking about like in terms of our clients paying us?
Yes.
Yeah. So far we've used ACH, which is minimal. There's minimal fees attached. We do ask that our clients, if they want to use their credit card, we ask that they would cover the fee. So we do have some use cases where we have clients that are overseas and they'll pay via PayPal, and it's a little pricey. So yeah, but that's an expense that we ask them to handle.
Excellent. Okay, David, so let's talk about your online favorite business tool other than yours, which we'll get to in a second. I can't wait to hear more about the difference you guys are able to make for a lot of the founders and CEOs and companies that you've helped and you're going to help. But let's go back to your favorite online business tool right now. David, what is that for you?
Online favorite business tool, is that right?
Yes.
I'm actually pretty tool agnostic. Like, I think for me, I don't know if you consider it a tool, but more so like an educational source. I really like Audible. I think Audible is a tool that, or if you call it a tool, it's a tool that feeds my mind. And I think it's just a great platform. I think the things that we learn from books have like incredible ROI if you apply them.
Excellent. And then Jim, what's your best, what would you say is your best source of client acquisition? I know you kind of briefly touched on it before, but tell our audience what that is for you guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're just really in a stage of experimentation. So far, we've had the best results in just cold email outreach. So basically reaching out to our prospects via cold email, and then having a sales call with them, and just really making it a point to make a connection. David and I are both people that really we really value relationships. Our credo is relationships over revenue, and we really appreciate the opportunity to talk to people. We love having conversations with founders, regardless if they're prospective customers or not. So it's been really rich. It's been rich to cold email people and to get on a call and just talk shop. We find that on our sales calls, we'll talk for an hour, and maybe 55 minutes of that is talking about them and their business and their history, and 5 minutes of that is our solution, right? Like, it's just, we found a lot of value in doing that.
Excellent. So the next question is for both of you. So I'm going to start off with David first. So the question is, when you guys are out there making your presentations, talking to new prospective clients or new employees, or when you're giving a speech, or you're out there on a webinar, hosting it or running it yourself. David, what is that one question when the Q&A starts? When it's questions and answers time. What is that one question, David, that you wish people would ask you in a business context that they never think about asking you, or they've never asked you yet? So, what is that one question you wish they would ask you?
I think it comes down to purpose. Like, what is your purpose? Like, why are you doing this? I think that's a question that's not frequently asked in business.
Excellent. How about you, Jim? What is that one question that you wish people would ask you more?
Yeah, are you specifically talking about in the sales context, like when we're on a conversation or on a call with a prospective client, or you just like general business?
In general business, when you're presenting and you're
Oh, okay.
talking, if you're doing a keynote or something like that, what is that one question you wish they would ask
Yeah.
you that they never
I think
ask?
one of my favorite questions is, what advice would I give to my younger self? Maybe myself 10 years ago. And something that's really resonated with me a lot lately, and David and I have talked about it quite a bit, is the idea of compounding. And so many times in my past, I've left businesses or opportunities, and not for negative reasons, like they've been acquired or just gone a different direction. But so while I appreciate the opportunity to sort of dip my toe in many different types of businesses, I think that I've lost ground and have not allowed compounding to take effect by just leaving too soon. So one of the things that we're really adamant about with xFusion is, like, we're not building this company to sell. We're playing the long game. We're running a marathon, and that really shapes our day to day. And instead of thinking of it as like a sprint, like, gosh, I've got to get all these things done today, it's more like, if we have a productive relational conversation with somebody and that's all we do for the whole day, that's a win. And it rarely happens that that's all we do, but I'm just saying, like, it's changing the measuring stick where we're playing the long game, and we're seeing what we can get done in a year's time, 2 years, 5 years, versus just by the day. And that's changed the pace, and it's really given me a lot more joy, and in a set of pace that I believe that is sustainable for the long term, so we can take advantage of compounding over time.
Excellent. And I wanted to ask David first. Can you give us a high-level overview of who you help? And I want to ask you a different variation of this question to Jim in a second. But tell us more about the problem that you solve. What's that big problem that your organization is solving for people, David?
Sure. So I guess our first audience that we reached out to were a bunch of technical founders who have built apps. And the solution that we bring to the table for them is providing great customer experiences for their clients. A lot of times technical founders either don't know how to, or don't want to, or are too busy to give their customers the experience they would like to give them. Generally, a lot of solopreneurs are very time constrained, and a lot of them focus heavily on product just because that's the world they're used to. A lot of them are engineers by trade, and I think on average, engineers lean more towards introverts versus extroverts. And they find like rejuvenation, they find creativity in the coding time, whereas providing support to people is something that drains them emotionally, drains their creativity. And I think what we bring to the table is, I think, people who are able to handle their support well, as well as just show care for their clients. I think a lot of times people view customer support as like a cost center, but we're the mindset that, like, if you treat people well, they're going to come back, right? Like maybe not like the next day, maybe not even the next week, but brand is something that compounds. And I think if you treat your clients well, they're going to talk about you. Maybe you can't track that on a metric on like some dashboard, but I think the energy you put out into the world is generally what comes back to you.
Absolutely. Like Jim was saying, it does compound. It's like running a marathon. So,
Right.
like when you're talking to, you say you were talking to a potential client, and you might spend 55 minutes talking about them, or just small talk and stuff like that. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jim, I wanted to ask you another variation of that same question. What would you say is just think about this. So think about the biggest difference you've made for your client as of today, to go unnamed. You don't have to name who they are, but I want you to give us like a specific example that you were able to make a huge difference for that client that worked with you guys, Jim.
Yeah, well, as David was saying, I mean, our goal is to help our clients get back to the highest and best use of their time. And at this stage, we have a variety of different clients. We have some that are solopreneurs and founders, and they maybe just themselves or have a small team. And then we have others that have a team of 25 or 30 people. And recently I was checking in with one of our clients, and his name is John from Bonify, and he's completely okay with us openly talking. But so I reached out to John, and we've had a great relationship with him. And I said, hey man, how did it go over Black Friday, Cyber Monday? He goes, this is the first time in the life of our business that I have ever had time to be proactive during this season. Thank you so much for the 2 agents that you've put on our account. They're doing such a great job. So the point is that he was able to roll out some much needed feature updates for his product and really spend some time focused, distraction free working on that. So like that was such a huge win. It's like, at the end of the day, every business needs to make a profit to stay in business. And like, obviously that's important to us, but really like we really enjoy those types of stories and pleasing our clients. So that was such I don't know, just a feel good moment to achieve what we were looking to achieve in terms of helping him get his time back.
That's amazing because, a lot of people talk about making a difference, but in this situation with this guy, what was his name, first name again?
John,
you made a positive difference for John for first time ever on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. That's really awesome. Yeah. And thanks for sharing that with us. That's
for sure.
Awesome. So David, tell our listeners how they could get a hold of you, give them your website address, any handles you want to throw out there, and so they can find out more information, or if they want to reach out to you, David or Jim, I'll give you an opportunity to do that as well. Just, let us know if there are any questions about, some of our listeners, if they have questions, how could they get a hold of you to follow up or find out more about you?
Sure. So our business website is xFusion.io. That's spelled XFUSION.io. My email is just david@xfusion.io. Jim and I are generally happy to talk to people. We have an FAQ on our website, and there's one question that says something along the lines of like, hey, I have a question that's completely unrelated to any of the above. And the idea is like, we just want to talk with people, right? Like, I think I find the stories you're able to share with people, especially at the founder level, the C-suite and director level, just be highly inspirational. There's people out there who are doing like difficult things to build businesses that are solving like relatively cool problems. And I think there's a lot of impact that we can all have with one another, just simply by making a connection. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, David. How about you, Jim? How could our listeners get a hold of you?
Yeah, David said it perfectly well. So Jim@xfusion.io. And I also was going to mention that we just love connecting with people. So like I said, David said that perfectly. LinkedIn's another good place too. We're both on LinkedIn. So either of those places would be great.
Great. I'll put it in the show notes for everyone to be able to connect with you guys. And I appreciate.
And by the way, Tony, like we have a booking form, a Calendly form right on our website. So people can go there and book a call with us. It doesn't have to be a sales call. We love to just connect so they can find the time on our calendar, and we'd love to have a conversation.
Great. Thanks for making that available for our listeners.
You
bet. Appreciate that. All right, here we are at the end. One word close. David, you go first. What's the one word close to finish it up with?
Ambition.
Jim?
Grateful.
Love it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to come on here and sharing your special gems with us. And we got a chance to, all of us, myself and the audience, got a chance to really understand who you guys are at a high level. And we got a chance to see what you guys do, who you do it for, and what kind of difference you're making. So thank you very much. I can't wait to have you guys on here in the near future to hear about other celebrations and wins that you guys have put on the board, so to speak.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony.
Take care.
Cheers.
And there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, and great to have you, and thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Till next time, onwards and upwards.